of boats for the December civilian caravan is still under careful consideration.
High lanes designated alternative routes to alleviate traffic congestions on major thoroughfares this holiday season.
And the United Nations urges the international community to embrace the two-state solution in an effort to bring lasting peace to the Israel-Hamas conflict.
Join us in the next hour as we deliver today's top stories around the Philippines and in other parts of the world. I am Joselito Liquido.
We are also seen in 1,935 satellite monitoring centers nationwide and via live streaming worldwide through the UNTV News and Rescue social media channels. I am Maria Latoza.
First in the news. President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. will no longer attend the 28th conference of the parties to the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, or COP28 in Dubai, personally address important developments in the hostage situation involving 17 Filipino seafarers. Nel Maribuhok reports.
President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. has decided not to attend the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change or COP28 in Dubai to focus on the situation of 17 hostage Filipino seafarers in the Red Sea. The chief executive announced the decision on Thursday, an hour before his scheduled departure statement in Villamor Air Base. In a social media post, he said he will convene a meeting to facilitate the dispatch of a high-level delegation to Tehran, Iran, with the aim of providing necessary assistance to our seafarers. According to President Marcos, he has entrusted the Department of Environment and Natural Resources Secretary Maria Antonio Yulo Loizaga to lead the COP28 delegation and articulate the country's statement on his behalf. Department of the Interior and Local Government Secretary Benhur Abalos, who is also part of the delegation, refused to give details on the said situation of Filipino seafarers.
Anything that will be involving our seafarers ay napaka-importante para sa ating Pangulo. Pero at this point, sana maunawaan nyo, hindi ko pwedeng i-discuss kung ano nangyayari because of the sensitive issues po rito.
But in a statement from the Department of Foreign Affairs, spokesperson Teresita Daza said that government sources say that hostages are in good condition and will eventually released. The DFA assured the public that the government is doing everything possible to obtain freedom for the 17 Filipino seafarers. Nel Maribuhok, UNTV News and Rescue, we serve the people, we give glory to God.
We turn our attention to the preparations for a civilian convoy set to embark on December 10, organized by the Atin Ito coalition. However, recent developments suggest a potential adjustment in the number of boats participating. Currently, 40 boats have pledged to join this maritime caravan, but according to National Security Council Assistant Director General Jonathan Malaya, that number might be deemed excessive for the mission at hand.
Shepherding all of the ships.
Yes.
Diba? Okay. Parang ano yan parang nagkaroon ka ng prosesyon, yung convoy sa kalsada, diba? Kailangan may numero, mayroong marshal, diba? This is the high seas. So this is really a big effort. At yung mga kapitan, kailangan marunong din sila sa high seas. Baka mamaya, dito lang sila sa Manila Bay umiikot, no? So may mga permits po kayong kailangan sundin. Kasi, you know, kung ano man ang mangyari sa kanila, sisisihin na naman ng gobyerno.
Malaya emphasizes the importance of familiarity with the area for boat captains undertaking this journey. Atin Ito Coalition, in its commitment to safety and adherence to regulations, has ensured that they will follow the requirements set by the Philippine Coast Guard and the National Security Council.
Yes, for sure. masaya nga kami kasi mas madalas yung aming pakikipag-ugnayan sa kanila. Nakipag-meeting pa kami doon sa Coast Guard sa Palawan District mismo. So yung requirements at yung mga volunteers natin, ima-match din natin doon sa requirement at yung capacity ng ating government forces to secure our civilian mission. So pagtatagpuin natin yung ganoong mga iba't ibang mga considerations para talagang masigurado na magiging successful ang ating pamaskong handog.
In a development in the case involving Police Lieutenant Colonel Mark Julio Habong, the Philippine National Police or PNP is currently awaiting the certificate of finality from the Department of the Interior and Local Government or DILG before enforcing the dismissal order against him. According to the PNP Public Information Office, the dismissal is related to the reckless impudence resulting in homicide case stemming from a hit-and-run incident in Quezon City last year. The PNP is poised to serve the dismissal order upon notification and receipt of the certificate of finality from the DILG. PNP Public Information Office Chief Police Colonel Jean Pajardo mentioned that Lieutenant Colonel Mark Julio Abong had previously appealed to the DILG to dismiss the recommendation of the People's Law Enforcement Board or PLEB to remove him from the service due to the lack of merit in the case. However, the DILG issued a decision concurring with the Regional Appellate Board NCR's recommendation for his removal from the service.
Immediately executory po yung decision na inilabas po ng ating SILG. Definitely, once we receive the copy at ma-issue po yan, he is no longer member of the Philippine National Police while he can exhaust his administrative remedies outside of the PNP. Sa matter of process po, ito pong decision po ng ating SILG ay kailangan pong ma-duly notify si Lieutenant Colonel Abong as part of the due process. So once mapareceive po sa kanya yung proof of service, maglalabas po ng certificate of finality of judgment ang office po ng DILG at once they issued a certificate of finality at marireceive po ng PNP yung official copy po nitong decision at yung kanilang transmittal concerning the certificate of finality and then yung implementation of orders, then the PNP will issue the implementing orders for the dismissal of Lieutenant Colonel Abong from the PNP service.
Meanwhile, the Firearms and Explosives Office has revoked 3 of Abong's firearm licenses, including the license to own and possess firearms and the permit to carry firearms outside of residence. As a result of these actions, Abong will not be entitled to any benefits from the PNP upon his removal from service except for accumulated leaves.
Kahit ikaw ay isang opisyal, isa kang ordinaryong miyembro ng PNP o non-commissioned officer and even non-uniform personnel, ay hindi ka exempted sa application ng ating mga batas. Whether it's a criminal offense or administrative offense, ay kailangan mong panagutan kung ano yung mga infraction at misdeeds and misdemeanors na iyong ginawa.
The Commission on Elections, or COMELEC-Ambong, has exercised its administrative power in the decision disqualifying Smartmatic from participating in any public bidding for elections in the future. Dante Amento will tell us the details.
In its official statement Thursday, November 30, Smartmatic called the Commission on Elections or COMELEC's decision disqualifying them from future public bidding for electoral exercises as arbitrary. They were not allegedly given due process to answer the allegations against them. This includes the indictment against former COMELEC Chairman Andres Bautista in the U.S. for allegedly accepting bribe money from Smartmatic. But COMELEC Chairman George Erwin Garcia stressed the ANBANG exercised its administrative power in deciding the case at hand. They can use any allegations even outside the petition as the basis for their decision.
Ang ibig sabihin, kapag administrative function, we can act based on something which we are fully aware of. Not necessarily because it is contained in any petition or whatever. So ibig sabihin, that's really part of the entire picture. Maybe the commission knows something which they also know. In fact, during the hearing of the case, naandyan yung issue na yon, bakit hindi nila mismo kinounter? Part yun ng kabuuan ng disqualification eh.
Garcia further said even Commissioner Amy Ferolino mentioned in her separate opinion the bribe allegation in one of the documents submitted by the petitioners.
Pag tinignan nyo, I will invite everybody, available yung records. Mababasa nyo, hindi lang isa yung petition. Series of documents ang final ng petitioner. At kayo rin mismo magko-conclude, yung binabanggit na wala doon sa akusasyon, kayo na magdiskubre na andon sa isa sa mga documents na na-file sa komisyon. So meaning to say, hindi po yun lihim yung mga issues o yung issue na na-discuss.
The Commission and Bank reiterated they could not afford to risk the integrity of the electoral exercise in the country, and they need to preserve the image of the institution in general.
We have a higher charge, that is the purity of elections. And as we carry out our constitutional mandates, we also have the power to interpret. I mean, our interpretation of what that power entails is something that we in the NBank agree on.
In addition, I would like to point out that COMELEC must be like Caesar's wife. It must be above suspicion. That's all. Importante yung integrity ng COMELEC.
Dan Tiamento, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
And for the news abroad, Russia's Interior Ministry is proposing a legislation requiring foreigners to sign a loyalty agreement upon entry. This initiative follows Russia's trend of implementing stringent laws post the 2022 Ukraine incursion, penalizing opposition figures with lengthy jail sentences. As the 2024 presidential election looms, President Vladimir Putin frames the conflict as an existential struggle against the West's perceived decadence, emphasizing the defense of Russia's sacred civilization. According to the TASS state news agency, the proposed agreement would bar foreigners from interfering with Russian public authorities, discrediting state policies, and distorting historical truths, particularly regarding the Soviet Union's role in World War II. The agreement includes clauses on morality, family, and non-traditional sexual relations propaganda. While details about which foreigners would be affected and potential consequences remain unclear, the Kremlin has refrained from commenting on the initiative. The Kremlin justifies the need for some censorship during the Ukraine conflict, urging caution to those criticizing the military. To become law, the draft must undergo parliamentary process, including review by the State Duma and approval by President Putin. Leonid Kalashnikov, chairman of the Duma's CIS Affairs Committee, confirms the draft's advanced stage involving collaboration among various government entities.
The United States Department of Justice has laid charges against Nikhil Gupta, accusing him of involvement in assassination plots targeting a Sikh separatist leader. Paul Gatchalian will give us the details live. Yes, Paul, good evening.
Good evening, Mariel. United States Attorney Damian Williams and other federal officials announced on Wednesday that the Department of Justice charges 52-year-old Indian national Nikhil Gupta with murder for hire and conspiracy to commit murder for hire of a prominent Sikh separatist leader in New York. According to the indictment, Gupta was hired by an Indian government employee in May who described himself as a senior field officer. Gupta contacted an associate to help find a hitman, which happened to be an agent working for the U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration. From India, the employee gave Gupta the target's home address, phone numbers, and surveillance photos, which he then passed along the undercover agent. The DEA stopped the plot in June, though Gupta was already arrested by authorities in Czech Republic. The White House has yet to comment on the charges. However, the case was raised by U.S. President Joe Biden to Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi during the Group of 20 summit in September. U.S. Security Advisor Jake Sullivan also met with India's security advisor to ensure that the Indian government and those responsible undergo investigations. He iterated that the U.S. needed assurances that this won't happen again in order to keep the relations established between the two countries. Back to you, Mariel.
Thank you, Paul Gatchalian, for that live report. Today marks the 160th birthday of the esteemed father of the Philippine Revolution, Gat Andres Bonifacio. In connection with the significant occasion, a commemorative program unfolded at Bonifacio's monument in Caloocan earlier this morning, spearheaded by Executive Secretary Lucas Bersamin. The tribute included the laying of flowers and a gun salute to honor the national hero. This year's commemoration carries the theme Duty and Responsibility Towards the Nation's Progress. It serves as a reminder for all of us to reflect on our roles and obligations in shaping the future of our nation. In his message, President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. encouraged Filipinos to dedicate their lives to the country and draw inspiration from the leader of the Katipunan, Andres Bonifacio. He expressed the belief that we can continue what Gat Andres Bonifacio started, ensuring that the genuine and profound love for the country he exemplified will be passed on to the younger generation.
The Confidential and Intelligence Funds, or CIF, of civilian agencies under the proposed 2024 national budget are unlikely to be restored. This was according to Senator Sonny Angara, who chairs the Senate Committee on Finance, as the bicameral conference committee for the national budget convened today, November 30. However, Angara notes that they will discuss the possible restoration of a portion of the Department of Information and Communications Technology, or DICT's secret funds.
Tayo as consumers, nagka-transact tayo online. Pag nawala yun, pilay tayo. Our economy will come to a halt. So I think the DICT is trying to appeal for naibalik sana at least a portion of their confidential fund. We're consulting with the vice chair in charge of the DICT, that's Senator Grace Poe, if she's amenable to that.
Currently, the CIF under the proposed national budget has a total of 9.8 billion pesos. The committee plans to approve and for both chambers of Congress to ratify the national budget before session adjourns on December 16.
In a concerted effort to address the perennial issue of illegal parking, the newly formed Metropolitan Manila Development Authority, or MMDA, strike force today, or took decisive action earlier today. Nearly 200 illegally parked vehicles were apprehended and towed away during an intensified clearing operation. JP Nunez will tell us why.
With the holiday season fast approaching, the Metropolitan Manila Development Authority, or MMDA, is gearing up to tackle the expected influx of vehicles. Today, the MMDA took proactive steps by preparing the Mabuhay lanes, designated alternative routes to alleviate traffic congestion on major thoroughfares. Earlier this morning, the newly formed MMDA strike force, consisting of over 100 members, conducted a clearing operation specifically targeting Mabuhay lanes in Quezon City. In a bid to enhance their operational efficiency, the MMDA also introduced the motorcycles that will be utilized by the strike force during these clearing operations. Attorney Victor Nunez, the MMDA Traffic Discipline Office Director for Enforcement, explained that the strike force is set to conduct daily operations in 10 different areas. In a departure from current practices, these operations will not involve tow trucks. Instead, the primary objective is to issue violation tickets to motorists violating traffic rules, thereby impeding the flow of traffic.
They could return every day sa isang area, madali silang makabalik, and mararamdaman ng mga laging nagva-violate ng illegal parking, yung talagang determinasyon namin na talagang matikitan sila at hindi na sila umulit.
Equipped with handheld ticketing devices, the strike force aims to streamline the ticketing process, allowing apprehended motorists to settle fines on the spot.
Yung mga enforcers natin ngayon, dala na nila yung bago nating handheld ticketing device. So yung iba, kapag gusto nilang mag-settle ng payment, pwede nilang itap, may QR code, they could pay outright yung traffic violation nila.
According to MMDA data from today's operation, a total of 166 vehicles were apprehended and issued violation tickets, with 9 vehicles comprising 4-wheeled vehicles and 5 motorcycles being towed. Drivers attending to their vehicles during apprehension face a fine of 1,000 pesos, while unattended vehicles incur a 2,000 peso fine coupled with towing.
Nabigla kami, siyempre, hindi namin alam na gano'n eh. Dati naman kami nag-ano dito, nagpipick up eh.
Pumaparada kayo?
Oo, pumaparada kami dito lagi. Hindi namin alam na gano'n. Sana nawarningan muna kami, di ba?
Sana lang may warning muna, yung gano'n, para may warning muna, tapos bago ma-intow agad, yung parang pakiurong.
JP Nunez, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
The Sugar Regulatory Administration is making waves, advocating for the establishment of a suggested retail price for sugar. The Department of Trade and Industry, recognizing the potential impact of this initiative, has expressed its willingness to lend a hand in enforcing these measures within the marketplace. Ray Pilayo will tell us why.
Prices of sugar in Metro Manila markets surpasses 100 pesos per kilogram. The Sugar Regulatory Administration wonders why the prices is that high while the farm gate price dipped to 50 pesos only.
Yung farm gate po natin bumaba ng halos 10 pesos per kilo. However, hindi natin to makikita sa retail. So, yun yung concurrent problem sa ngayon po.
SRA believes that by setting a suggested retail price, the prices will be calibrated.
Yung usapan ng SRP ever since before, we've been pushing for an 85 peso SRP. The only hang-up dun I know is how will it be enforced?
The Department of Trade and Industry said that they will just assist the Department of Agriculture in implementing the SRP.
Magbabase lang po kami sa kung ano po presyo ang sinet ni DA. Kami po ang monitoring. I-check lang po namin kasama ng pag-monitor namin sa establishment.
DTI noted that the SRP should not be taken for granted by retailers and manufacturers because it may affect the marketing of their product.
Hindi po siya penalty in the sense na papatawan natin ng fine, pero more of yung effect niya doon sa market share or doon sa saleability ng product dahil sila mismo yung hindi sumusunod sa SRP.
The Philippine Chamber of Agriculture and Food Incorporated is in favor of imposing SRP.
Kung 49, 450 lang ang farm gate, I don't see a reason why it should be sold at 100.
Meanwhile, SRA said that the confiscated sugar would be sold to market by December. Ray Pilayo, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
And in other global news, China seeks a concrete solution to address the ongoing issues in Gaza through the United Nations. Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi, also the chairman of the high-level United Nations Security Council, emphasized the need to strengthen diplomatic mediation. China called for a long-term truce in the war-stricken enclave and notably refrained from condemning Hamas, focusing instead on opposing violence against civilians.
巴以冲突再次证明，两国方案是解决巴勒斯坦问题的唯
We should also prevent the conflict from spilling over into the entire Middle East region.
巴以冲突再次证明，两国方案是解决。
We urge the removal of the release of all those held captive and call for the removal of the blockade of Gaza to ensure unhindered international corridors and guarantee the basic needs of civilians in Gaza.
China is advocating for de-escalation in the conflict and is urging the UN to establish a specific timetable and roadmap for a two-state solution. This solution involves the separation of Palestine as an independent state with its own governance. Wang Yi believes that through this approach, a comprehensive, fair, and enduring settlement regarding the Palestine issue can be achieved. He emphasized that a peace cannot be attained if there are expiration dates and limited ceasefires.
In a significant diplomatic move, the United Nations is urging the international community to embrace the two-state solution as a crucial step toward achieving lasting peace in the conflict between Israel and Hamas militants. This call comes in the occasion of the United Nations International Day of Solidarity within the Palestinian people, underscoring the organization's commitment to addressing the ongoing challenges in the region. Ruth Bahe tells us why.
The United Nations has called for the international community on Wednesday, November 29, emphasizing the need for an irreversible move toward a two-state solution to the Palestinian-Israeli conflict. Tatiana Valovaya, United Nations Director General in Geneva, delivered a speech authored by UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres, stating that it's long overdue to pursue a two-state solution based on United Nations resolutions and international law. Valovaya stressed that this would entail Israel and Palestine coexisting side by side in peace and security, with Jerusalem serving as the capital for both states. A two-state agreement would establish a Palestinian state in the West Bank and Gaza Strips alongside Israel. However, Israel insists that a demilitarized Palestinian state is necessary to ensure its security. The recent attacks on Israel by Hamas gunmen on October 7th, followed by Israel's bombardment and ground offensive against Hamas-ruled Gaza, have prompted increased calls for a two-state solution. Palestinian ambassador to the UN in Geneva, Ibrahim Kraishi, highlighted that the ongoing conflict serves as a wake-up call for the international community to support a two-state solution. He further urged Israel to seize this moment, as failure to accept the idea of a two-state solution may lead to adverse consequences for Israel itself. Ruth Bahe, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
And those are the reasons behind the news in other parts of the globe.
In other news, President Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos has signed a proclamation designating November 30th as a National Bike to Work Day to be observed yearly. This move aligns seamlessly with the ongoing campaign led by the Department of Health, urging the public to embrace a more active and healthy lifestyle by choosing to bike to work. Kath Dumaraos tells us why.
Proclamation number 409, signed by President Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr., declares every 30th of November as National Bike to Work Day in the country. This proclamation not only designates a specific day for this initiative, but also highlights a commitment to making cycling a mainstream mode of transportation. It places emphasis on the improvement of infrastructure to accommodate and encourage this sustainable means of commuting. The Department of Health takes a leading role in this effort, directing an interagency technical working group on active transport to coordinate and facilitate the yearly celebration of the National Bike to Work Day. Health Secretary Ted Herbosa underscores the health benefits of such a shift, pointing out that heart disease, stroke, and cancer are leading causes of deaths and emphasizing the importance of staying active.
We're encouraging people to become active, and cycling is one of those that can really prolong your life. Moving, doing a lot of activity will keep you healthy. Very important.
Recent data from the Social Weather Station, as reported in September, indicates a significant rise in bicycle usage, with 36% of households in the country now opting for this eco-friendly mode of transport. In response to the shift, the Department of Health has been actively collaborating with local government units, national agencies, and private sectors to address the needs of the growing community of cyclists. Initiatives include the establishment of bike lanes and changing rooms to make biking a more accessible and convenient choice for Filipinos.
Kung mag-ano tayo, kagaya ng sa DPWH, nanghihingi tayo ng more bike lanes and local governments sa mga private corporations and government institutions, mag-provide sana ng changing rooms, locker, shower room para, alam niyo naman kasi sa Pilipinas, mainit eh. So pag nag-bike to work ka ng mga ilang kilometro, papawisan ka talaga. So sana naman makapag-change sila.
Cities such as Quezon City, Iloilo City, and Baguio City are emerging as pioneers in this movement, boasting wide and extensive bike lanes. Kat Tumaraos, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
Our kasangbahay. As the world faces these trying times amid various challenges and uncertainties, we are inviting everyone to join the global prayer for humanity from Monday to Friday, 9:30 p.m. Philippine time through the social media accounts of the members of Church of God International.
And before we close, we will leave you with a word giving glory to God. From the book of Proverbs chapter 21 verse 24. It says, "Proud and haughty scorner is his name, who dealeth in proud wrath." And those are the reasons behind the news November 30, 2023. Reasons we deliver to you as they unfold. I am Maria Latoza, live from Australia.
And because we need to know, we will always ask why. I am Joselito Liquido, live from Malaysia. We serve the people, we give glory to God.